Georgia has a very strange railway, and today we're checking out their probably most strange train, their little fleet of 8 slightly different and wonky Chinese express trains built in 2010. We will explore the train's strange fake business class and the unreliable history as we travel from the bustling capital Tbilisi through the stunning hills on our way to Kutaisi airport. Our journey begins at Tbilisi Central railway station, which is a pain to access by foot. And while the station opened all the way back in 1872, the modern-day brutalist building was constructed in 1980. And before we head inside, we have to play a game of guess where the station entrance is. Is it this home appliance store? Or is it this electronics store? No, it's the door to this electronics store and hotel. By the way, if you're a bit of a railway geek, staying at the hotel here is a great option, as you can get rooms with a balcony over the railway. It's a bit run down, but the location is convenient if you're catching a train, and they were only asking for 25 euros a night. Anyway, let's go buy some electronics. Catch a train. As you might have gathered by now, the station today is mostly a mall with a train station attached. The platforms are located 3 floors up, which is accessed by escalator, but there are also lifts available. Trains to Batumi usually leave here from platform number 1. But for everything else, we have to head up 1 floor further. And this is where we get to the actual railway station part of this mall. Here you'll find a large ticket office, as well as the departure board, plenty of seating. And behind there is a food court, which was closed here at 8 AM, where there's only like 3 or 4 trains departing. So yeah, you have pretty much every facility here you could want from a train station. Unlike most other places in the world, Georgian railways don't simply list the next couple of departures on their departure boards, but instead show every single train that serves the station, so you might have to look for a little while to identify yours. But with that out of the way, let's head down to the platform and see if we can see our train. To our right on platform number 1, we can see the Batumi train. Trains to Batumi are operated by modern Stadler KISS trains, built in 2015, but not for Georgian railways. But more on that in my future video about them, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to not miss it. Strangely, the only station name sign on the platform says Sukhumi, which is about 400 kilometers away in Abkhazia, currently not served by Georgian railways. Pulling in the distance from the depot, roughly 30 minutes before scheduled departure time, is the star of today's video, this weird wonky Chinese train. This is the GRT or VMK multiple unit, built in a series of 8 train sets around 2015 by China's South Locomotive and Rolling Stock Company in Nanjing, and then shipped to Georgia for final assembly and modifications. They are capable of speeds up to 130 km per hour. Georgian Railways has a super good app where you can easily purchase tickets and you can show them on your phone when boarding the train as well. So let's go and do that. Your ticket and sometimes also ID will be checked up on boarding, so make sure you have these ready. Okay. And with the all clear, it's time for us to head on board. I'm today traveling in business class, which was located in the rear carriage, closest to the station building. First we're entering first class, which is laid out in this 2+2 layout. And behind the curtain is where we find business class, which seems to have the same kind of seat. I quickly settled into my seat and got ready for our departure. Departure from Tbilisi is really slow, with us barely reaching speeds above 40 km per hour. But eventually, as we get a bit further out, we pick up the pace as we run by some of the old storage and freight yard tracks, which seems like a great opportunity for us to take a look at the route map for the remainder of the journey. We are on board train number 870, which leaves from Tbilisi, running first a bit north, then turns to head west as we make several intermediate stops as we head towards my final destination, Kutaisi Airport. The train covers a distance of 227 kilometers in 4 hours and 2 minutes, giving the train an average speed of 56 kilometers per hour. Afterwards, the train continues several more stops to its final destination, Zugdidi. As we leave Tbilisi, it already becomes quite clear that these trains aren't of the highest quality. With this squeaking sound being present for much of the journey. And at 100 km per hour, the train ride quality isn't exactly smooth either, but this could also be down to the tracks. Our first intermediate station stop is Gori. Apart from being the 5th largest city in Georgia, Gori is also the birthplace of the Soviet leader and politician Joseph Stalin. But from a railway perspective, it seems to mostly be an important place to be overtaking fuel trains running between the Black and Caspian Seas. And as we make our way towards the mountain pass, let's go and check out the rest of the train. So up here in business class we get turned off televisions, a curtain, and that's about it. Continuing down to first class, we get similar seats, but just more of them, and of course not a curtain to hide behind. In the vestibule you can find some limited luggage storage space as well, but otherwise it's primarily done on the overhead racks in every carriage. The seats in second are in a 2+3 layout, but thanks to the wide loading gauge in Georgia, it's not as cramped as it would be on most other European trains. But of course, being in a middle seat still sucks. The only catering on board these trains are the 2 vending machines located towards the middle. They both sell coffee, as well as a few snacks, chips, water, sodas, etc. And before I forget, let's do a toilet review. The door can easily be locked using this knob. But despite the train being built in 2015, it doesn't have a modern vacuum toilet, instead just dispensing into a tank. However, everything is functional, it was stocked with paper and soap and everything, so good job. But at this point I was wondering what I paid for in business class, because the service is identical, because there is none. The seats are the same as in first class, yet the price is almost double of first class. As we get closer to Kutaisi Airport, the route gets more hilly, which means our train has to slow down quite a lot to traverse the turns following the hills. However, Georgia is spending a lot of money upgrading select parts of the railway line with new bypass tunnels to speed up the journey times, where they are currently really slow thanks to the previous constraints set by the terrain. This, however, unfortunately means the line is about to get a lot less scenic, as a significant part of the journey will now be spent in tunnels. The tunnel, however, gives me a great opportunity for me to show you the business class seats. At some of the bays with table seats you will find a power outlet, and a big table of course. The seats do offer recline, a coat hook, and reading lights. The seats are soft and comfortable, but there's hardly much to say apart from that, is that they're just fine. However, what's not fine is the train's reliability. While 8 trains were built in total, only about 4 or 5 remain in service regularly, with some of them having been written off in accidents, long-term used for spare parts, or just plain up broken. And here we see an example of just that. The unit that was meant to operate the service from Poti to Tbilisi is being pulled by a VL10 locomotive. So yeah, as we exit the mountain pass, I cannot help but think that this is not really a good train. But on the positive side, the tickets are generally pretty reasonable on Georgian railways. If you just don't make the same mistake as I and waste your money on a fake business class, then you're only looking at 26 Lari or about 9 euros for first class, with it being about 5 euros in second class for the 4-hour journey. So here, as we approach Kutaisi airport station, I still think that getting the train across Georgia is a good option. The trains generally have air condition, fair prices and are kept mostly clean, but it's just a bit weird and wonky at times. So what do you think about these trains? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I try to post a new one every Sunday. You can also follow me over on Twitter at IntercitySimon. I usually post live for my travels over there, so it's a great place to get a sneak peek at what videos might be coming to the channel in the future. Thanks for watching.